Hello, this is Kylie J.N.S. and happy Friday. I hope you guys are having a great Friday as well as a great week going into the weekend. And so we are here for our weekly tarot. As per usual, we start with the review and then we get into next week's reading. And so, we got quite a bit to discuss. A lot happened this week, but we have to keep it within the context of the review of last week's video. And we said a couple things would take place. I know one in particular we mentioned the potential for, unfortunately, a major death, and that if that was the case, they were definitely backstabbing and deceiving. So we got to really talk about the situation with baby boy John Amos because there is so much deception around his death. It's not even funny. He was just, it was just announced to the public, to the media, that baby boy John Amos had died. So we all grew up knowing John Amos, and so we look out. I looked into it, and it was like all this deception, this suspicion around baby boy's death. And so we want to get into that in context of what we talked about last week. As soon as I saw, the article about it and I read through it, I said, that's who was deceived, because we said if someone major dies this week, they were backstabbed. And so we definitely got to cover that. Then we got to cover some things with deception on a broader scale in a situation with over there in the Middle East with the war, as we know. And so there's some articles with the word deception relating to diplomacy between several countries. And so we want to get into that. And you may notice me not necessarily dive deep into certain articles because of YouTube's been on one with the censorship and with a lot of things. And so you're not going to see me, go dive into detail about certain things as much as I used to, as it relates to politics, because it kind of messes up the algorithm, as you guys know. And I'm not monetizing. That's not the point. I cover very heavy topics. I'm still going to teach the esoteric topics, very raw and unfiltered. I don't care about that. But as far as like the stuff with the politics stuff, it messes up the algorithm for me, because we talk about the esoteric politics. Now I'm still going to do the esoteric politics because I like that. I like that series, and I like looking at it from the point of view of more of the shadow aspects, or the masters behind the puppeteers and all that. I like to look at that. I like to look at the spiritual aspects of politics, because many of those in politics are occultists, so we see the symbols and things like that. So I like to break those things down and what have you. And so let's get straight into it again. Hope you guys had a great week, and let's because I really want to talk to you guys about the baby boy John Amos. Oh my gosh, he died. We were all sad. So let's start the review of last week, and then we can talk about the specific article. So here we go. Okay, let's see. I gotta feel this. Okay, I'll say this. There's some issues with potential backstabbing on a global scale. The first thing I get is backstabbing, possible death of someone, backstabbing. But it gets better throughout the week. That's like the only global thing that I see. It's a backstabbing of some sort of backstabbing on a global scale. Just to be someone talking, someone talking to save themselves. It's the first thing that I get. Something out of the first thing is like selfishness, or somebody's trying to save themselves. Somebody saves themselves. Saves themselves. That's the global thing. I'm trying to see if I can find anything that was like more helpful for humanity. You know what I mean? On an individual level, I can tell you're gonna have a great week. That I can see, but I'm just saying, like, globally, that was the first thing that spoke up, that came out. Let's see. Then I can get something more. Yeah, somebody's gonna stick up for themselves. They're gonna lose some relationships. that could be on an individual level. You have to be careful. Like, I won't say be careful, but like this week is a good week to stand up for yourself. But another approach, you may want to practice self-preservation, sticking up for yourself at the expense of losing relationships. You know. We see finding there's going to be, this is the darkest hour before the dawn, so there's going to be an event where, let's see, the thing is a rock bottom, darkness before the dawn. I think that relates more so to the crisis in North Carolina with the mishap with FEMA and what they have done and their lack of action. So much so that, citizens had to take it upon themselves to take care of one another, to send satellites to help people, to have, other, it's just ridiculous. Like they told us that FEMA ran out of money because they gave it all to the migrants. And so they were only going to be able to give Americans $750 from the crisis over there in North Carolina with Hurricane Helen, right? Helene. And so that kind of strikes me there. I want to get to the part specifically where I say if it's going to major, it's a major celebrity. If that happens, then he was definitely backstabbed. I want to get to that part. But here's the thing: there's nowhere to go but up. It could be a woman that does the backstabbing, or she is backstabbed. I'm trying to see if this relates to politics or business. Okay. And this is whatever this backstabbing is, or whatever this is, or throwing someone under the bus or saving themselves, is to improve their picture, to improve their situation. It can also be something that has to deal with relocation of someone relocating. As far as like globally. Now let's get into the individual, because with sorry, if you're planning a vacation or you're planning to travel, planning for that is good. It's like this focus on money, like this focus on that leads to fulfillment. But I do have to say that the energy is important. Okay. Yeah, that's the energy that I get. A team or a partner, and you know that you need more clarification, you need more honesty, you need people to speak up, you need like this is the week where you want to call that out, and you want to okay. So I don't want to, I was looking for that part specifically where I said it, but I did skip through a bit, so maybe I won't find it in this instant. I don't want to belabor the point. Do that. Another thing is for humanity, many of you are going to be getting a wake-up call to see the truth of a situation this week. Next week, sorry. And that is for September 27th through October 4th. Okay. So I think that also, again, maybe relates to what happened with FEMA. I mean, it was total shock to see like the inaction. I think it was very shocking to a lot of people, like to find out that non-citizens were able to get, thousands and thousands of dollars of aid, and sending major, massive packages over of billions of dollars to other countries, and then for them to tell those American citizens who just lost all of their homes and whatnot that they can only give them $750 because FEMA ran out of money. That's a total disgrace. And so the former president had to come out there and do his thing and help as best he can, and give access to satellites at least, because through you could communicate through the internet and whatnot through that. And so I mean that's just it's a disgrace. And so we can only go up from here, like I was saying. But I think people it hit the realization of that, it hit people like, wow, like this is where we're really at, where we not even able to help. I mean, they haven't sent. I mean, it was people literally all on Twitter saying they hadn't been helped in days. They don't have phone, don't have food, don't have running water, don't have bathroom. Houses, they stranded on roofs and stuff, and like they were waiting for that aid, that help, and then nothing. It never came. You know. Um, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys read and saw some things yourself, so I don't have to tell you guys. But let's look into this situation with John Amos. It was just reported that baby boy John Amos had died on October 2nd, 2024. But here's the kicker. He actually died on August 21st, 2024. They are just reporting his son waited 45 days after this man's death to finally tell the public. Mind you, the other kids didn't know. John Amos's immediate family didn't even know he was dead, guys. So we talk about backstabbing and the deception of someone who dies, that was major. It was definitely baby boy John Amos. And we are going to cover a little bit of his life story. I don't want him to just be known for his death because, I grew up knowing John Amos. We saw him on Good Times. We saw him in multiple series, even after Good Times. And so we always liked his character. From me growing up, we had always, it was kind of like this thing that John Amos had, honor and integrity in terms of his limitations in Hollywood, what he was going to do, what he was not going to do, what he was going to let people around him do. That's something that we always knew about him. And so growing up, and so, a lot of people always respected him. He didn't obviously go like super mainstream, like say like a Denzel Washington or something like that. But in his own right, we certainly appreciate his integrity because he would always say, you're not going to depict, you know, um, Black Americans in a certain way, a certain manner. We want to be taken serious. We want to have integrity in our roles. That type of thing. And so that's what also he was known for. You know, so he died at 84. He was 84. But here's the thing. He died at August 21st. They only reported this on October 1st. As you can see it right here. On October 1st, Amos' sons Kelly Christopher Amos announced that the Emmy nominated actor died of natural causes on August 21st in a statement shared with people. Now, see, my thing is, you got to figure John Amos is an American icon. So reporting it, like, you see it right in front of you, written right there. On October 1st, Amos' son Kelly Christopher announced that he died of natural causes. We said he was backstabbed, and I'm saying spiritually all week, even after we did the reading on September 27th, that this man was murdered. Like, I'm telling you, like, y'all got to get on this. Y'all got to do whatever investigations you got to look into, whatever motives you got to look into, phone records, phone calls, all that. Family members of him, John Amos, that just found out too. They, like, his family members found out on October 1st, guys. That's like 45 days. That's damn near 2 months. And like we said, John Amos is an American icon. And so when he dies, you're gonna know about it. Like, it's not like, I'm telling you, like, it's not like the media is not gonna report on him. Let's be real. Look at this. It's not a media that's not gonna report on John Amos. Even it don't matter. You'd say, okay, he wasn't like no Denzel Washington. He don't got no Oscar, whatever. This dude is literally an American icon in Black America. But all of America know who this is. All of America know who this is. And so, as you can see, TMZ, the New York Times, BET, of course, The Root, New York Post, People, like, they are shocked. They just now finding this shit out. Okay, so it says John Amos will change before death. Daughter and others claim. This is just a day ago, guys. So we're talking about deception, backstab. Now, they saying John Amos wanted to delay death announcement to avoid circus. No, he didn't. I'm telling y'all right now. Y'all can look at it. Y'all better, whoever family members, y'all better look into this. And if not, I don't want to, because I'm telling you something is not right. This man was backstabbed and deceived. I don't believe John Amos dying wish was to delay his death announcement to avoid circus. What circus? If you're dead, you're dead. What circus? Amongst who? Amongst Will? Amongst how? And why did the other children and other people not know and find out on damn social media? and find out on damn news. Why didn't the son tell the rest of the family members then? So they trying to get in front of this, whatever. But I'm telling y'all, whoever is near and dear to John Amos, whoever knows of him, whoever cared about him, who his children, y'all gotta have an investigation at the latest because he was cremated 8 days after. We don't know of his remains. They saying the son got him. The will changes before the death. This was 1 day ago. Let's look at it. And see, I'm telling you, I'm telling you something not right about this. Matter of fact, let's continue reading this and then we're going to get into like more of the juicy detail of that. Let's finish reading this though. It says John Amos' cause of death has been revealed after his son confirmed he had died at age 84. According to the death certificate obtained by People, the late actor died of congestive heart failure on August 21st at 5:18 p.m. at a hospital located in Inglewood, California. There were no other significant medical conditions that contributed to his death, and no autopsy was performed. No autopsy. The certificate also reveals that the Good Time star's remains were cremated on August 30th, just 9 days after he died. I thought it was 8 days. Only 9 days. His son, Kelly Christopher Amos, was listed as the informant who reported his death to Los Angeles County. KC is also seemingly in possession of his father's ashes, as the late father's place of disposition is listed as KC's address. TMZ was the first to report the news. On October 1st, KC confirmed that the Emmy-nominated actor died nearly 2 months ago in a statement shared to People. It is with heartfelt sadness that I want to share to you that my father has transitioned, he wrote. He continued, many fans consider him their TV father. He lived a good life. His legacy will live on in his outstanding works in television and film as an actor. My father loved working as an actor throughout his entire life, most recently in Suits, LA, playing himself in our documentary about his life journey as an actor, America's Dad. He was my dad, my best friend, and my hero. Thank you for your praise and support at this time. Okay. Hours later, watch this. Amos' daughter, Shannon, claimed she learned of the sad news through the media. So why didn't he tell her? We are devastated and left with many questions how this happened 45 days ago, learning about it through the media like so many of you. This is his daughter. So they want to the boy want to come out because he was sacrificed, and they are being deceptive. He was backstabbed. John Amos was backstabbed. Something is not right. The daughter is saying the will has changed and all this the days before his death, and then the son want to come out and say he wanted his last wishes was for me to not tell nobody so we don't cause no circus. The daughter, he told you not to tell Shannon. That don't make no damn sense. Okay, so let's continue. This should be a time of honoring and celebrating his life, yet we are struggling to navigate the waves of emotions and uncertainty surrounding his passing. Still, there is some semblance of peace knowing my father is finally free. And so, yeah, there was many people that died this week that were deceived or whatever, but we were talking about like a major death and something so obvious like this in terms of, we said, backstabbing and deception, and someone major dies. My thing is, when you think about it, like, this is such a unique case that is global in a sense, because we're talking about most celebrities when they pass, when they pass. Okay, October 1st, is when it was announced, but that was 45 days after he passed. That's very unusual for a celebrity of this caliber. For him, as far as his elder age, his body of work, his respect in the community, like, that's very rare. It cremated 9 days after it did. When you think about it, the daughter says she didn't know. She's now saying that the will was changed. So there's some funny business about this. This is why I say, like, of all the cases that came out this week of people who died and whatnot, like, we're talking about, like, when we say backstab and deception, like, this is a clear case of that. Like, this, and I'm telling you, as soon as I heard the story, I knew that was that. It's in that reading. You better believe it. I knew it immediately. I said, that's John Amos. That's John Amos as. And I said, because they waited 45 days after. That's so unusual. That is not normal. This is not just some, you know what I mean? Like, when certain people die, like, people want to pay their respects. The community want to give people their flowers. Nobody got a chance to do that. It's 45 days later. Nobody got a chance to do that. And these are people that, like that's, like, what's wrong with that son? Y'all need to investigate that boy, man, because, why wouldn't you want people to pay proper respects to your dad? Why is you just not releasing this 45 days later after you changed the will and cashed in on this insurance policy, allegedly? So what the, like, that's not cool. There needs to be an immediate investigation. Okay. She says, we are struggling to navigate the wave of emotions and uncertainties surrounding his passing. Still, there are some semblance of peace in knowing my father is finally free. The news came over a year after Amos entered the hospital due to fluid filling his lower body and causing issues with his heart. At the time, a rep from Amos said the doctors drained all the fluid and Amos had been on the mend. The hospitalization happened as Shannon alleged her dad was the victim of elder abuse in June 2023, which he denied. She then filed a complaint with the Colorado Bureau of Investigations and created a GoFundMe page to raise care expenses for the Coming to America star, which was later removed at his request. See? In March 2024, Amos called the claims of elder abuse false and unmerited in a statement to People. He also referred to KC53 as a careful, thoughtful human being who respects me. That same month, a rep for Shannon told People that she worried her father's health was being downplayed despite multiple hospitalizations. So she had called it. She called it. And I'm telling you, when it comes to that Hollywood stuff, the truth be stranger than fiction, man. How they could gag order motherfuckers, like when they said James Earl Jones hadn't spoke in 7 years. I mean, and I remember I was listening to a priestess, and she was saying, they finally released him for his contract. She said they had it in like a torturous situation for 7 years. I didn't understand what she was talking about, because it seemed like she knows way more about this stuff than I do. But when she said it, I said, "What kind of shit you talking about? Like, what does that mean?" I really would like more of an explanation of that. But this type of thing be happening, and so she had already been aware of some type of elder abuse. He downplayed it, but my thing is, when she said he downplayed it, did John Amos himself downplay it, or did that information come relayed to the son through KC? Like, all this stuff got to be investigated. Like, this is not making any sense. People think this is about money and rivalry. It's not, Shannon said. In part, I love my brother and I hope he would get the help he needs, but we need to prioritize the safety of my father, who is vulnerable first and foremost. Anything else can be addressed within our family. Boom. It's right there. The Los Angeles Police Department also launched an investigation at the time looking into Shannon's claim that her brother wasn't providing appropriate care for their father amid his health issues. I'm telling you, that man was doing something to his father with this fluid buildup and the heart stuff, and then up into the passing. And I'm telling you, you'd be surprised what people would do, what kind of what people would do to get you out the paint, to take over your estate or whatever it is. Well, it's not you would be surprised. I think the average person know about the lengths that people are willing to go when it's money and jealousy involved, and when it's bullshit involved, and when it's feeling slighted and is involved. And so April 8th, the LAPD closed the case due to lack of evidence. I don't think there was. I'm telling you, something not right about this whole thing, and I'm telling you, it could be more than one person involved in this. That's a little too conspiratorial. I don't want to go that deep, but it's like something weird. Amos later thanked authorities for their professionalism and thoroughness in their investigation. He also vowed to shed light on the real truth as to the motives of those who painted a false narrative about me in a documentary he was producing with KC. See, this not even making any sense. But let's look at what she said about the will being changed. You see, it says will was changed without family knowledge. Daughter points finger at brother. See, John Amos. I'm telling you, something is not right with this. You don't find out that John Amos died 45 days later. Like, that's very rare. This is a Good Times guy, everybody knows Good Times. Even if you didn't watch Good Times, you always see your elders. You go see your elder, go see Uncle Bobby, whatever, and you always will see Good Times playing in the background. See, Good Times is way before my era, But I remember growing up and seeing it on the elders channels. Like, you go across your elder's bedroom or something, and you see him watching the Good Times still. Literally, this is what I grew up seeing, and I used to always see John Amos on my mobile screen. That was just a known thing. And then obviously he played Kunta Kinte, so everybody remember that. However you feel about the movie, that's your business. But I'm saying everybody know that a lot of people watch that series, regardless of what you feel about it, and that it was plagiarized story from a white guy. It wasn't a real story, and I think we all know that. And they had to fight that in court and whatnot. But nonetheless, it was for even its theatrical value, it's a good show. And baby boy John Amos played in that show. He played in Good Times. He played playing anything else? I can't quite remember, but you know, look at that nose. Boy, what a nose. It kind of reminds you of like either like a Black American Indian nose or a Ghanaian nose to me. A lot of the Ghanaians have that nose, and then also a lot of certain American Indian tribes have that nose too. I think that interesting. But anyways, the wheel change. So let's look at this, man. So Shannon appeared on TMZ Live Thursday, where she was joined by John's former business manager Paul Bassadiere and her daughter Kiera Colston and John's goddaughter Amy Goldie to sound the alarm over their unanswered questions about the shocking circumstances surrounding the Time Star death. This man was murdered. I'm psychic. I can't see everything. I don't know everything, but this was relayed to me very heavily throughout the week. Other priestesses are saying the same thing. It's like it's an alarm. Like this energy is powerful, so we could feel this energy. Now you see, last week we just did the review on September 27th that it's a major person's gonna die, and if they die, they were definitely backstabbed. Those are my exact words in the video, and I remember saying it because it didn't. No lie, October 1st, that flash on my screen, and I read 45 days later. He died on August 21st. 9 days later, cremation. Nobody knew. The daughter didn't know. Boom. That's John Amos. That's John. I had already knew. So I'm telling you, whoever need to look into it, these people are dead on the money. They just got to find the evidence to match their intuition and their suspicion and their credible questions about what's going on. That's all they got to do. But I'm telling you, they gonna find it. Y'all gotta have that discovery and get to action. Have a lawyer take this on, because I'm telling you, something is not right about this. In my gut, a gut, something telling me that something happened to this man. You know, and that it's the people around him he couldn't trust. Now again, I'm not saying the son is all in on this. It could have been him. It could be multiple people involved. I think because the fact that they didn't do an autopsy, the fact that the investigation said no. I mean, I'm telling you, people do sacrifices. It's real, and slow kills are real too. And so something tells me that it's more than one person. Why wasn't there an autopsy? You know, why, when Shannon said she felt there was elder abuse and he wasn't taking care of him, did the police look the other way? You'll be shocked what people got planned with your insurance policy, all types of shit. You'll be shocked. I'm telling you. And so it might not even be just him. But no autopsy? How do you not pay for an autopsy for John Amos? Or not pay, but or request one rather? Why was his death reported 45 days later? The daughters and everybody found out on damn social media. That's crazy. So it says Shannon says Casey alleged drug addiction and mental issues led to estrangement among the family, and alleges her brother withheld treatment from their dad. Okay, so let's see. John was diagnosed with Lewy body dementia in 2016, prompting Casey to move in with their dad. And she says Casey then proceeded to isolate the TV legend from his other loved ones, even monitoring his phone calls. He was his handler. He set him up. They had a deal over his head with somebody that knows more about his life insurance policies or whatever he had, whatever little bit he had or whatever was going to come in even after the death. You know what I mean? Something I write about this. And then it says John's ex-business manager also claims he and two other individuals were the actor powers of attorney before Casey allegedly took their place without any discussion. Look at this. Shannon said my uncle was actually the head of the state and he had to do 5 wills because my brother would come in and would get him to sign paperwork. He would undo everything. That's what I'm saying. You can't trust motherfuckers. That's why I let my will be public. And you know what? After I made my will publicly available, Warren Buffett. Was it Warren Buffett or Charlie Munger? One of them billionaires. They made will publicly available too, where you could just go and read it. And that's gonna be a common thing with people who got intellectual property, potentially be worth more dead when they were alive, or people that obviously have money. We talking about like mega money, like with estates and stuff. You're gonna see a lot of people start making their wills motherfucking public. Now you got an internet version, then you got the lawyer version, but even though it's similar, the internet version may not have like personal private information, right? But the internet version would match up a lot with the real version, not the real version, but the one that gets enforced. It's very very similar, and they both are notarized. They both you done sign like an affidavit, whatever you need to do. Um, I think that's going to be a wave you see with people that got money or could potentially be worth more. Their body of work be more their intellectual property, whatever, or royalties. Because I'm telling you, people is just fucking grimy as hell, and they send these weird ass handlers around you to try to, get people to have powers and attorneys and all that stuff. I don't play that. Like, y'all got to start having something. If you suspect that you could be one of those people, make your will public. And I'm telling you, as soon as I made my will public, a white billionaire, soon after, I want to say it was either, I don't think it was Charlie Munger. I think it was Warren Buffett, though. Um, that did the same. One of them white billionaires did just put it out public. Or he said he's gonna make it public, or he either did put it out public, because the public need to know, like, what was your wishes, what was going on, so when they see shady ass shit going on, at least somebody can speak up, or at least somebody can notice. But if you don't do that, anybody can say anything, and people will change stuff. Then you get dementia. They poisoning your motherfucking ass with. He was probably getting poisoned and getting fluid in his lungs and stuff, and they drug you up and tell you to come sign something, sign this, sign that. Like, I'm telling you, it'd be real out here, so you got to be careful. But it says, look at this. Shannon said Tuesday she learned her dad's passing through the media, pondering why it took 45 days for the death to be announced. And KC had John's body cremated 9 days after his death without a funeral and without notifying the family. She added, I think my brother had him quickly cremated so that law enforcement couldn't do and that the family couldn't ask for an autopsy. We knew that my father had congestive heart failure. We know he wasn't in any kind of hospice. I don't even believe about the congestive heart failure. I think there was poison in his ass. Shannon accused Casey of elder abuse last year, which her brother and father denied at the time. And see, I'm telling you, like, you have no idea what that father that boy could have had something on Amos that he was holding over his head to make him say and agree with anything, or else he would release a photo or release a video, the party or something, no, to get him to comply and make, I'm telling you, you never know, man. This is gonna be an interesting motherfucking case, because they gotta definitely open up an investigation. And y'all reporting on this story, y'all reporting it all over the mainstream media news. Y'all gotta at least have somebody that care about him enough in law enforcement, to at least want to look into it and investigate it. That's the only thing that makes sense. And so let's see. In July 2023, Casey was arrested for threats he allegedly made against Shannon that had her fearing for her life. The family made it clear that the dispute is not about money. The family is planning for a memorial on November 23rd in New Jersey. But they saying that he changed the will. Where was that at? Yeah, the will change without family's notice. That's ridiculous. But he was definitely a backstabbed, and there's deception around his death, and it must be looked into. I'm saying that psychically, and I can't go on record saying, "Oh, I know stuff 100%," and all that shit like that. But like, certain energies you could pull on better than others. It's as simple as that. Certain energies are more clear to see into than others, right? For this one, and him being on a Black American lineage, I don't even where did he come from? Because I could feel I could feel his energy. Oh, he was born in New Jersey. I would have never thought. I would have never thought. John Amos. Okay, so we all know he was born 1939. Okay, he played in as James Evans on Good Times, as we know. He played in The West Wing. He played in The District. He played in Coming to America. That's the one we all remember him. He played in Coming to America 1 and 2. Okay, now he was funny as that movie. That movie was funny as hell growing up. I forgot about Coming to America. He sure did play in that. So he also played for the Denver Broncos as a free agent in 1964. I never knew that. Did you guys know that? You probably did. He played oh wow, he played in the AFL. I didn't know that. Okay. I wonder how tall he was. Did it tell you how tall he is? Did it give you the height? They used to give you the height on these things. I don't think they give you the height no more. Okay, so we know him on Good Times, and he always, he expressed dissatisfaction because he wanted a positive image of Black Americans, and so they would often clash with the writers due to the script's lack of authenticity in portraying the Black American experience. And this is why people had always respected him in the community, believe it or not, because he was making sure that things remained dignified. And as with always, they replaced him. And we heard of him, but the roles probably didn't come in as much as he could have had it had he not spoke up. But you notice he was in more roles than the one that was playing more of the dynamite guy. He had more roles than the dynamite guy. So, but yeah, he was replaced. His character was killed off by the writers, leading to a famous scene with his wife screaming, "Damn, damn, damn." I think we remember that. We all remember that one. And they always label you difficult when you want to assert boundaries and when you want to assert your dignity and rights. You simply get labeled difficult, and they replace you with people who are desperate and thirsty to do anything to get to the next level and get to the, And so a lot of people always appreciated John Amos for that. Like, and I think it was something that was very common knowledge that he would speak out, about the script's lack of authenticity. And it was unfortunate that his character was killed off. And so he played in quite a bit. He played in, as you can see right here, he played Dr. Doodle. I didn't know that. I didn't know he played in. He did play that police officer in the Players Club. I know y'all remember the Players Club. That was the shit back in the day. I know y'all remember the Players Club. He did play the police officer with the donut. With was it not Bernie Mac was the. They had a lot of legends in that movie. When you think about it, they had Bernie Mac, they had Jamie Foxx, they had bad actors in there. They had Lisa Ray. That movie don't get they have Ice Cube, and that movie don't get the credit that I always felt it was due. I always loved the Players Club. That's just me. That was always one of my favorites. We all remember that fight with Diamond, and Ronnie, and Ebony. I remember the character named Junior. Like the Players Club. That was the movie. So if y'all ain't ever see that, go and check that out. I mean, it's mad hood, but it's a good movie. I grew up watching it. I think I was like 5 years old when I saw that movie, and I had enjoyed it. And my nanny that used to watch us, Tanya, she her ass would be sleeping somewhere, so she ain't know we was watching that scene when Diamond would come out and do the little strip tease out, with breastises out. They ain't know we was watching that part, but we was nonetheless. Let's get back to the topic. John Amos, and so he was also a part of the National Guard. See, this is what I'm saying. He would have even been honored as a veteran. He didn't get any. Come on, that's wrong. And that makes me think, like, where was his people that loved him around him? How was he able to make all these changes? How was he not able to get an autopsy? Why was the elder abuse not taken seriously? Like, my thing is, this was a veteran of the 50th Army Division of the New Jersey National Guard and honorary Master Chief of the United States Coast Guard. Like, come on. That's I'm telling you, like, something not right about this. And like, he was supposed to have an honorable, funeral, even just that alone. Not even to mention the fact that he played in the AFL. He did awesome, in shows, in the Good Times. So it's like he didn't get anything. Like no proper outgoing ceremony. He's about to get a ceremony in November. Like literally, like damn near 4 months after he's died. Like the people were supposed to like give him an honorary veterans funeral. The funeral would probably been on a couple of stations, or would have been live on YouTube at the least. At the least, would have been live on YouTube. Let alone maybe the news covered, a couple of news stations cover it briefly or show a clip of the funeral and whatnot. People would have known about that. People would have known about his funeral. You know what I mean? He didn't get none of that. That's a disgrace. And that's what I'm saying. They are on the money. Deception, backstab. Just like I said in that read. Amos died of congestive heart failure at the hospital. His death was not announced until October 1st, 2024. His daughter Shannon was unaware that he died until it was reported by the media. His remains were cremated 9 days after his death. See, people know. That's how you see they wrote it just like that. People know. People know. It's going to be an investigation. It's going to be an investigation. You better believe it. That's some crazy ass shit right there. I'm even upset reading it. I couldn't imagine somebody doing it to your family member like that. Like, people is really fucked up these days. People don't look out for nobody, and they fucking stupid and greedy and money hungry. Like, you can't, like, it's such a disgrace, man. It's such a disgrace. But like we said, we didn't come to bring peace. We came to bring a sword. So your own motherfucking foe is right in your damn household. I know y'all know that verse. That's ridiculous. Your own motherfucking foe is in your household. We'll read Matthew's. Is in Matthew's 33 or some shit like that. Yeah, we didn't come to bring peace. We came to bring a sword. We came to set mother against a son against father and all that shit. And a man's foe would be in his household. Those who not willing to pick up after enlightenment is not worthy of enlightenment. But that's some wicked shit, man. I'm telling you, it's something real funny style about this. You gotta investigate. So let's cover his awards at least. In addition to receiving an Emmy nomination for Roots, Amos was nominated for the Cable Ace Award, the NAACP Image Award, and a DVD Exclusive Award. He won 3 TV Land Awards for his roles on the Mary Tyler Moore show Good Times and the TV miniseries Roots. In 2020, Amos was inducted into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. It's an organization that honors individuals from the U.S. state of New Jersey who have made contributions to society and the world. So he was supposed to, get a proper burial. Like, I know Black Americans, y'all gotta speak up about this. Like, that no, there's gotta be an investigation. That's crazy. So these are all the things he has played in. So John Amos, rise in power and rest in power and in peace and love and all that. And, we hoping that, justice comes and that if not, if it was no foul play, at least we get the clarification on things and it matches up and things are sound at the least, if not full-blown justice for what has happened. Seriously. And so let's continue, because there was also something with deception, as we can see here, relating to the Middle East escalations. And so there's scuttlebutt around that as well. And this was October 2nd. So this was 2 days ago. And so, obviously we know that there was 180 missiles had launched on Tuesday. It was a lot going on, to be honest. And so you see it right here. It says diplomatic failure and deception. I'm not going to read that on my channel because it's going to strike too many words, most likely. For this type of video. For my other videos, I don't care, but for my weekly tarots, I do care. But for my esoteric politics and my esoteric studies, that I will actually just read this out loud and really go full throttle. But yeah, there's tensions in the Middle East. We all know they're talking. And so the international community is scrambling for a diplomatic solution. So we have to see what's going to happen. But that's also, they're saying that there's lots of deception in that possibly. But the biggest deception I felt this week was John Amos' energy. Something had happened to him that is not being revealed. Something is not right. And so we hoping that gets rectified sooner rather than later, right? So yes, let's go into next week, because I think that's pretty much all we had. I mean, I didn't really, because I wasn't really wanting to do global events last week, so that could be potentially why we didn't have much, which I had admitted going in, because we weren't going to do a global event at all. Actually, it's the energy for next week. The energy for next week. You know what? I kind of felt this was a little premature energy, but I'm gonna keep it because it's such a beautiful energy, and I feel like, in lieu of what's going on with Hurricane Helene and what could potentially be happening in the Middle East and what and situation that's going on in the media, with trafficking and all this, let's do something that's more, you know what I mean, like more on the positive, because I do feel though that this was like squirted out, like if I could explain to you how the energy feel, psychically, it felt like this was squirted out prematurely. This energy, this particular spread, William. Like I wasn't yet conscious on pulling the energy from next week, and it squirted out. It came before, I processed the actual energy for next week. And so that's what I mean by that. And I know that's very hard to probably understand what I'm talking about. And I don't mean to make anything difficult or more complicated than it needs to be. Uh, I just actually had got a comment from uh, one of my subscribers or people who have been studying my work, and they said they're trying to understand things, and it's been like really complicated. I make everything complicated, and it's too hard to understand. And I want to apologize if that's been anybody else's experience. I know for many it has not been, but I also know that I have been told that sometimes it feel like um, it's like talking over someone's head, and that's never my intentions. And one of the reasons why I isolated more so on my channel and in my books versus going and like say on uh, text chats like Twitter Spaces or Clubhouse and whatnot, or fan base, was precisely for that reason. So I could just have an insular experience where I can express myself unfiltered and unadulterated in the way that I like to. Um, but there's people that still would want to follow the work or see what and understand what I'm talking about when it comes to like, my esoteric sciences or whatever, and it's never my intentions. It was never my intentions to make things more complicated than what it is. And I try to find like some analogies, but you also have to ask questions. Ask questions. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. I don't know where you guys are at, where with the understanding of certain things. So if I don't know, I can't assist. And so I appreciate that feedback because I'm going to take it into account. But I will also encourage, that if you feel that way, you have to ask questions, like ask for clarification around certain things. So at least I can develop an analogy that's like simple, or I can break things down because I do know when I wrote some of that stuff, it was in a very insular space. I lived in a bubble. I have to say for a long time, with not the full awareness of where even the collective society was at in terms of states of consciousness and in terms of even information. Um, I totally underestimated that. Now I knew I was a teacher, but I still thought, oh, if I teach, then people understand me. And so I don't want to come where there's like a misalignment because I'm teaching, but people don't understand me. And so I'm going to take that to account to try to come up with more analogies and whatnot. Um, it's not my mind processes things different than others. Sometimes faster, sometimes slower than others. I also see things differently, and sometimes it's hard to get those images out of the mind into words that are simplified. And so I don't want to make anything complicated for anybody under any circumstances. Please ask questions though, or else I won't know. Now, the only reason why you're not asking questions is because you're trying to do some sinister or potentially steal the work or try to reverse engineer it. That's the only way I can think. And I'm not talking to this subscriber or anything. I'm just saying, like, I have heard people before saying they were studying my stuff and they trying to understand it. We trying to understand it. It's like you trying to plot on me then, like, because why you not asking questions? How you trying to understand something secretly and not coming out to the person and telling them that you're trying to understand it? That means you're trying to plot on somebody's shit, and you're already blacklisted and try to shadow ban the hell out of my stuff. So that makes me think you're trying to steal it or try to come up with a version of your own. If you ain't asking questions, that is. If you just secretly studying somebody's shit and you don't understand it, but then you don't ask them for clarification through a email or something, that means you're trying to steal their shit and you trying to keep a track record of that or just reverse engineer their stuff. My shit cannot be reverse engineered. I'm talking about mind science, but it's operating at a certain resonance, or else the, working with it backfires. It's not even the point if you're not trying to put in the work, not necessarily for some lofty higher goal. It can be, but not necessarily for some higher transcendence, out of body experience, but for whatever your subjective goals are, what your subjective manifestations are. That's the whole point, is to teach you, like, is the whole point of the Nakhti system. The Nakhti philosophy is for people to program their own minds subjectively with the information and the data of the infinite universe, organizing your internal entropy, organizing the chambers of your mind. But first, you have to become aware of your state of consciousness and of what information is currently programming you, what content, what data is currently programming you. You have to become aware of it. Then you have to decide if you're going to transmute it or if you're going to keep it. If it's inauspicious, if it's auspicious, which means is it good or bad for you subjectively? Not what society said, not what your mother said, not what your child said, not what uh, grandma said, what you say. Then you go on the path of reorganizing of the mind, choosing specific new information to take in that is in alignment with what you want and what you say, and then going through the meditation practices and the techniques. And then obviously we about to come out with the Nakhti philosophy 2.0, which is real high level shit, which goes from programming in your own state of consciousness and programming your own individual reality to programming collective reality, to creating an ideal parallel universe that you would like to ideally live in, and where you're pretty much creating a vortex space of a simulation, you know, that science you can most likely will get more activated once you pass, but you can still do it on planet Earth right now. The thing is, it gets into like you got to make sure that you're not using it for mind control of others at that level. Because you become a master, you're a programmer, you're an architect, and so you want to make sure. We're talking about Nakhti 2.0, Nakhti the first Nakhti philosophy. You just the master of yourself, and you know how to program your state of consciousness at will. You know how to transmute inauspicious information at will. You know how to add in information. You know how to organize the chambers of your mind. You know how to reduce fragmentation of the mind. You know how to organize all of your ethereal, your energetic, your emotional, and your mental energy to serve you, to get the manifestation quicker, to program your mind. You program it what you want, how you say it. And then the second 2.0 is you're programming any dimension that you are in. So obviously you're on planet Earth. So you're programming the matrix of whatever dimension you are in. That could be Earth dimension. You go to another planet when you die, or you go to a different dimension, whatever, what have you. That's getting you to that now you're an architect. You're a chief architect. Now you're a master builder. You know how to use your resonance through a certain your resonance through a certain frequency, through a certain vortex space as a creator, and you are now able to mold and program computational algorithm of whatever matrix you're in, or create your own, and siphon off into an ideal parallel universe. And so, you know, if you don't know Nakhti philosophy part 1, you damn sure is no way near prepared to go for Nakhti philosophy point 2, part 2. It's high level shit, you know. However, I may not be the teacher for everyone either. I have to acknowledge that too. There are people on this planet that are considerably advanced already, considerably, you know, they know certain things, or they maybe look at the certain information themselves, and they see my work probably just as supplemental, or just something to peruse through, and something to add on to their own systems, or and if it maybe inspired them to create an IPU. I'm not sure, but you know, I still haven't found that lane or my tribe yet, in that sense of like, okay, well, who is my target audience? And I should think about that more, as far as like, I know I'm not teaching like kindergarten. I know I'm not teaching like baby souls. You do have to have, I would say, at least a good 15 years to feel comfortable probably with me. Those that are younger, if you have an open mind. Now, if you have an open mind, yeah, you're welcome. I'll over here, obviously. But do you have to ask questions, and you have to put in some effort, because if you don't understand, or ask the question, if you don't understand, ask for clarification. Do also other research into other things. If you hear something you don't know, research it on your own first and foremost. Research what you think it means, or how you ponder with the information, and come to your own conclusions or whatnot. I'm not here to tell people what to think or what to do or how we gonna do, but nonetheless, I gonna take that advice to try to make sure I add more simple analogy and simple terms. I lived in my own bubble for so long. I either talk with people who understood me, pretend to have understood me, or just didn't mind letting me ramble about my little theories and shit. You know what I mean? And there were people that I also had to learn from and learn from them and be on more on the listening end. You know, and so that's what my life has been. I've been around people who knew exactly what I was talking about. We having a conversation one on one. You know, going back and forth. They know what I'm talking about. I know what they talking about. And then the other, I do know for a fact that there are people who pretended to know, act like they know what I was talking about. For whatever those reasons are, I don't know. Maybe it was to impress or get intel. I'm not sure. Whatever. And then the third one was people who didn't know what the hell I was talking about, but just didn't. You know, they listened to, they just will just let me go and let me rip. You know, sometimes ask a question or whatever. And then the fourth one is people who were teaching me. And so this is I'm obviously new in the public to an extent. I mean, I don't know. I don't consider 3 years a lot, and so and I don't have any experience. And then I ask people for mentorship. I've asked people who have experience doing this for help. Years ago, a decade ago, and whatnot. And so I'm out here icing it on my own. I'm not necessarily winging it, but I gotta learn as I go. And so I'm gonna definitely take that into account. Um, and again, ask questions as well. If there's anybody that feel like they don't know what I'm talking about. And my thing is, if the only way I've heard people say, I don't be studying what you're doing, if you don't know what you're talking about. That make me think you're trying to plot on me, because you should be asking questions then. And that come out after like an argument, or something that has to deal with their frustration. So that definitely make me think you plotting on me. Lord have mercy. That only happened twice, and I kind of dealt with it, but I'm just saying. But nonetheless, you see on your screen the spread for next week. And again, you guys can go on my website or on Etsy if you want to book a personal reading with me. You schedule it in a professional manner. You know what time you want, what kind of questions you want. You can ask your questions in advance. You can request whether you want live, recorded, digital format, phone call, a phone call, instant chat, email with a digitally recorded sent file sent to you. But you can ask your questions in advance. Um, your questions, your date of birth, or you don't have to put date of birth, but your name and your questions and whatnot, your time that you want, how long you want, and we go from there. Um, like I said, you can do Etsy or my personal website. But nonetheless, let's get into the next week, because look at the energy. It looks really good. You have to say yourself that this week's looks really good. So I think this is a good week for probably like some alliances. We talking about global events now. We're gonna start with some global, and then we're gonna get into individual. But um, definitely alliances of some sort what could be built this week between three people or two people, or two. Obviously, when we say people, these could be institutions. They could be um, countries. But we're looking at like an alliance of some major alliance forms that is win-win for everybody involved, either between two entities or three. Um, I also see for the global, there could be some sort of infusion of cash. It's some type of infusion of cash for people. I hope that this is relating to the Helene over there in FEMA. I mean, the victims in North Carolina that's been impacted by the hurricane FEMA. I'm thinking, I'm hoping that there's an infusion of cash where the American citizens can get more than $750. It just looks like something with an infusion. I can't see it as anything other than that right now. But I do see, if it's not relating to Hurricane Helene, we'll have to just, state that next week. But there's some sort of infusion of cash. If it's like a surplus or something that gives some stimulus. So I don't know if they're going to announce some sort of stimulus. Maybe it's just for the victims of that hurricane, some type of stimulus or something. That's the first thing that keep coming to my mind. Stimulus. Let me write this down. Actually, stimulus. I get an infusion of cash. I'm hoping that this is for those victims, or so let's see, maybe from I'm getting that it doesn't seem quite foreign. I wouldn't rule that out because you can never rule anything out. But I'm just saying it don't quite feel like a foreign country. This seems something more in-house, more national. Um, Whatever this is, but it's to like give like cash like to people. Like that's what it is. Like that's why I'm thinking it got to be like maybe some type of relief or something, some relief fund for a certain segment or for a certain population. I don't think it's gonna be. It may not be all of Americans. I wish it was, but another thing we see like a three-way alliance announcement or two-way alliance or like what's it called, conglomeration or not conglomeration? Is that mergers or something? But it's like that, and it could be with two countries or people or institutions. That's what I'll say. But it's major and it is fruitful. It does seem to be possibly long term, and honestly, it could relate to investment world. The first thing that keep popping up is the investment world, but I'm hoping that I mean it could be something a little more serious. But the first thing that keep coming up is the investment world, so I'll put that in there just in case. I see anything else. It's a great week for healing. It's a great week for any type of healing, any type of apologies that need to be mailed out. Um, it's a great week for any sort of long term planning for life. As far as this week, say if you needed to update any sort of thing, like in lieu of what we saw with John Amos, we needed to update any sort of trust, will, living will, whatever it is. This is an investment. You want to look at whatever it is, beneficiaries. This is a good week to handle that as well. The money also looks great. If you're working, you may notice again it like for those that are working rather. This week it looks great in terms of like say, especially if you're in management, if you're in any sort of management, whatever needed to be balanced in terms of the finances is going to go excellent. You may want to pay attention to the plans early on. That's the first thing I get. Let me look some more into this. Also, it's a great week for philanthropy and humanitarian work. We may actually see something with philanthropy or humanitarian relating to children. Let me put that in here. That just comes up for some reason. Philanthropy or humanitarian work relating to children, and that kind of looks to be more something like global. Maybe that's a new program that's announced. Maybe a program to help of children for whatever reasons. I don't know. Maybe it's victims, or maybe just a program for just children. It does look like that we may see something like that too. Yeah, but family and work life is going to flow smoothly, I do have to say, this week. Philanthropy and humanitarian work, that's a good week for that. Yeah, if you have an established business or whatever, it looks like the sales is something with sales that comes up. That's more of individual. It doesn't feel global, but it's something that's pretty cool. A lot of hope and renewal, inspiration, and creativity. So you may be feeling more inspired by the people around you this week, or you are inspiring someone around you. And I would say from the beginning of the week, you may feel like you want to be a little isolated, may have a little non-conforming behavior. You may feel like you want to take some time apart. You want to follow your own counsel and make sure that you're aware of your own vision. Now, the weekend, I ain't gonna hold you. If y'all want to get party hardy, get your ass up there, and hang out, go out with your friends. This is a good week for that. This is an excellent week. If you, I don't know if people still do clubbing or the lounge, the jazz lounges, the bar, whatever y'all into these days. It's definitely the good weekend. Get a couple friends and go out on a night on the town. That's for sure. Hmm. Outdoor gatherings, all types of that. Yeah, yeah, that's what I would say. But it does. I ain't gonna hold you. It just looks like a really beautiful week. It really does. Lots of uh, celebrations, proposals, things with marriage, childbirth. Like honestly, if somebody's listening to this, or it may be like people the, the energy is like people thinking about children this week. Like children come up, but in a very positive way, and it's like maybe announcements of pregnancies or um, announcements of childbirth. You know somebody that's pregnant right now, or know anybody that's pregnant. They may had a child, or not tell somebody may tell you that they pregnant this week or some shit like that, or someone else having a kid. You know that type of thing. That's a big possibility. That's a big energy. But I have to say, it looks good. If you're in relationships, you may notice like a new uptick in the passion and the emotions, or working on a new creative project together, or having a new idea, sharing new ideas with each other, bouncing ideas off of one another. That's a good thing to do. But if you're in a relationship, if y'all can hang out in the town tonight, not tonight, but for the weekend or whatever, that will also, uh, bring you guys closer together, bring that passion and romance closer together. And so, yeah, that's what we have. We'll be back next week, and so that will be next Friday. So that's October 11th. See, it's October 4th. I mean, it's stuff go by so fast, and so we just did the reading for next week. Now that's from the end of this video when it's published and reported, time stamped on usually my Twitter, because that one gives you a more accurate, like a specific time of when you published it, until October 11th. And so we'll see what next week will bring, and we'll do the review, and we'll take a look to see if what we said came to pass. We definitely want that stimulus infusion of cash. If for no other than the people that's been affected by that damn hurricane out there. And y'all gonna need to have an infusion of cash from motherfuckers that's by that biolabs, because that's been 3 times that y'all did that, and I live near that, so y'all gonna have to run a check too if y'all keep fucking around. Okay. And then we're going to be looking at some philanthropy and humanitarian work related to children. We're going to be looking at 2-way or 3-way alliances or mergers that can relate to countries, people, or institutions, or the investment world. So we'll be back next week, and we'll see what we say, or what we see rather. And so you guys have a great weekend, and we'll talk next week. I got me some crab legs. I don't eat crab legs like that often. But when I do, boy, I had got me some ghee. Anybody know that ghee is clarified butter? That tastes 1,000 times better than butter, if you ask me. It's like off the chain. So I got me some ghee. I bought me some Old Bay seasoning. I got me some crab leg with the corn cob and shit, and a turkey kibasa. I'm gonna make me a little seafood boil. What's it called? Seafood boil. Yeah, I'm like, man, I had crab legs in so long, and I got the snow crab. I remember a couple of years ago, like not even a couple, like damn near a decade ago, I used to eat them remember them king crab legs. And I mean, I remember I paid like I'll pay like $250 for them king crab legs. And I was cooking it one day in the pot, and I ain't gonna hold you, like it just looked like a creature, and it freaked me the fuck out. Like that big ass crab leg, it just looked, you could like when you flip over a crab or you flip over the lobster, you could tell it's just a big ass bug. They say, oh, we ain't supposed to eat no crab, whatever. But I ain't gonna hold you, like that king crab, that shit freaked me out, looking at them legs, like them big ass giant legs that's about as long as your motherfucking arms. And I'm looking at it, and I'm walking, and I'm taking the 2 crab legs and walking it on the table towards the pot, and it just freaked me out. It just fucked me up. And then them little clusters that coming out, And so I said, you know what? I don't like the idea of eating this. I think I'm gonna stick to the snow crab. It's just too big. It's just too giant. So I like the snow crab. I'm like a little ass kid. And I'll fickle with them little, some people they just want to grab that big ass that big ass meat out that big king crab, and just go to town. And I remember I had a baby in my family. He was even a baby, he was a child. I remember I used to get them king crabs, and he don't like king crabs. He would be like, no, it looked too creepy. I like it. I like the snow crabs, little small little bites. And I remember he was like, look at this giant. I remember he was pulling that out for him as a little kid. He was like 8 years old, and he was like, it's too giant. It's too giant. So he started taking his fork and like cutting it into like these little tiny strips, like tiny. But he wouldn't just take it and just put the whole thing in his mouth. He was like, that's too giant. I want snow crab. He's like, Auntie, can you get me the snow crab? I don't want no big ass no big ass claw like that. And so I got me the snow crab, boy. I'm about to go in. I'm about to go in. Get me a what's it called? The crab boil. I got me some corn. And I got no potato though, but I got the turkey kielbasa. And I spent $10 on this turkey kielbasa. Inflation a bitch, so it better be good. Because I usually, I don't mind a beef kielbasa, but I told myself to chill out and try the turkey one and see how that's tasting like. Yeah. But I'll talk to you guys next. I'll talk to you guys next week. God bless. Love you.